There are moments when everything feels calm, the day is quiet, the people around you are smiling, life seems to be moving along just as it should. But deep inside, something is waiting. It's quiet, it's still, it doesn't make noise, but it's there. It lurks in the silence, hidden beneath layers of your thoughts, resting in places you've long forgotten. It's not something you can see, but you can feel its shadow. It waits for the smallest crack, the tiniest opportunity to explode and throw you off balance. It can shatter your peace in seconds, and the worst part is you never see it coming. You never prepare for it because you don't even know it exists until it's too late. That's how silent it is. That's how dangerous it is. It's not the loud battles that break you. It's the silent triggers, the small things, the things that sneak past your guard and hit you right where you're weakest. You go about your life thinking you're fine. You think you've moved on, you think you've healed, you think you're strong, and then out of nowhere someone says something small, a harmless joke, a little comment, a word that barely holds weight. And suddenly you're not fine. Suddenly your chest is tight, your heart is racing, and your peace is gone. You start asking yourself, why am I so affected? Why does this hurt so much? Why can't I let this go? It's in that moment you realize you've been carrying something all along. Something buried, something unresolved, something that you never dared to face. It has lived with you in silence, feeding on your memories and waiting to strike. And when it does, you don't see the world clearly anymore. Your vision is blurred by emotion, your mind is clouded by pain, and your reaction is no longer in your control. You lash out, you break down, you isolate yourself, you start wars over things that are small, but they don't feel small to you. They feel enormous, unbearable, personal. But why? Why does something so little break you so much? It's because the trigger isn't about now. It never was. It's about the past. It's about the wounds you ignored. It's about the conversations you never had. It's about the people who hurt you, the situations that left scars, the emotions you pushed deep down hoping they'd disappear on their own. But they don't disappear. They stay. They build a home inside you, and the more you ignore them, the stronger they get. They hide in your silence, they hide in your smile, they hide in your strength. And then one day, they don't hide anymore. One day, they walk out and take over. We always think that mastering our emotions is about controlling anger, or sadness, or fear when they show up loudly. But the truth is, what destroys us are not always the loud moments. It's the quiet ones, the ones that don't look dangerous until they've already done the damage. A small delay in a reply, a friend who forgets to check in, a stranger who cuts in line, a tone that sounds slightly disrespectful. Things that most people walk past without a second thought, but you feel them like a sharp blade. You feel them deeper because they poke at something you've buried. They remind you of something painful, even if you don't realize it right away. It's not the event that breaks you. It's what the event connects to inside you. The silent trigger lives in all of us. It's that soft spot, that hidden crack, that weak link in our chain. And it's dangerous because we don't pay attention to it. We focus on big problems. We prepare for big storms. But the storm that knocks us down isn't always the one we can see on the radar. Sometimes it's the invisible storm brewing quietly inside us. And when it hits, it feels as if we've lost control of ourselves, as if our peace was stolen in an instant. We find ourselves trapped in our own mind, overthinking, replaying, asking why we reacted so strongly, why we can't let go of something that should have been so small. The truth is, mastering your emotions starts by hunting down these silent triggers. You can't fix what you can't see. You can't defend yourself against an enemy you refuse to acknowledge. These triggers are clever. They hide behind pride. They hide behind stories you tell yourself. They hide behind your desire to move on without really healing. But if you want to build true peace, you have to go looking for them. You have to become brutally honest with yourself. You have to ask hard questions. Why did this specific thing make me so angry? Why does this situation hurt me so much? Why can't I let this go? What does this remind me of? Who does this remind me of? You have to trace the pain back to its source. And sometimes that means facing memories you've locked away. Sometimes that means accepting that you haven't fully healed from things you thought you left behind. It's uncomfortable. It's painful, but it's necessary, because if you don't find the trigger, it will find you, again and again. It will control you. It will steal your peace. Every person who has mastered their emotions has gone through this journey. They've done the uncomfortable work of digging into their own mind. They've sat with the discomfort. They've faced their triggers head on and stripped them of their power. That's why when life throws small challenges their way, they don't crumble. They've built a fortress inside, not by running from their triggers, but by understanding them, by taming them, by mastering them. You don't find peace by ignoring what hurts. You find peace by learning why it hurts, and then doing the work to heal it. The silent trigger is not your enemy. It's your teacher. It's showing you where you still need to grow, where you still need to heal, where you still need to let go. It's not here to destroy you. It's here to wake you up. But you have to listen. You have to pay attention. You have to stop brushing off the things that upset you as nothing. Because they're not nothing. They're signposts. They're pointing you to the places inside you that need your care, your understanding, your patience. When you face them, when you understand them, when you heal them, that's when you truly master your emotions. That's when you take your peace back, and that's when you become unshakable. The most dangerous part of the silent trigger is that we often don't even recognize it. We live our days trapped in endless reactions, blaming everything outside of us for the way we feel. When something disturbs our peace, we quickly point our finger outward. It's their fault. It's the situation. It's life being unfair again. We rarely stop to ask ourselves the uncomfortable question, why did this particular thing unsettle me so much? Why did it hit me this way? The truth is, most people don't want to look inward because it's easier to stay blind to our own patterns. It's easier to say they made me angry, they disappointed me, they let me down. It's harder to ask, why does their action have this power over me? Why does something so small manage to create such a storm inside me? The reality is that we are constantly reacting to echoes from our past. It's rarely about what is happening in front of us. It's about what that moment touches inside us. When we start paying attention to these reactions, we begin to notice something. We get triggered by the same types of situations over and over again. It's almost like life keeps throwing similar events at us, like a loop we can't escape. Someone being late for a meeting sets us off. Someone raising their voice shakes us. Someone not listening carefully to our words frustrates us deeply. Different people, different places, but the reaction is always the same. This is not a coincidence. This is a pattern, and these patterns are signs. They are telling us there's something deeper going on, something unresolved, something we've never truly faced. When we miss this truth, we stay trapped in the loop. We keep reacting to life without understanding why, and when we do that, we give away our power. The silent triggers are not the problem. The real problem is our blindness to them. When you live without emotional awareness, you are like someone walking through a minefield with your eyes closed. Every step is a risk. Every conversation could explode. Every day could bring something that ruins your mood, and you won't even know why. Emotional mastery begins the moment you decide to open your eyes and start looking at your own reactions carefully, honestly, without excuses. You have to become an investigator of your own emotions. You have to notice when you feel that sudden rush of anger, that wave of sadness, that sharp sting of offense. You have to pause and ask, what just happened? Why did this touch me in this way? What am I actually reacting to? Sometimes it's not about the event at all. Sometimes it's about the story we are telling ourselves about what the event means. A friend doesn't reply to your message, and suddenly you feel ignored, abandoned, not important. But is it really about the message? Or does it remind you of being neglected before, of being overlooked, of not feeling seen? When someone criticizes you, you immediately feel attacked, worthless, small. But is it really about their words, or is it about the fear you carry deep inside that you're not good enough? These reactions are not random. They come from somewhere. They are tied to old pain, old memories, old beliefs that you may not even realize you've been carrying. When you recognize the real source of the reaction, you take your power back, because now you can separate the present from the past. You can tell yourself, this situation reminds me of something old, but it's not the same. This is not the same person who hurt me years ago. This is not the same story. I am not the same person I used to be. This is where emotional freedom begins. Recognition creates space between you and your reaction. It gives you a chance to choose your response instead of falling into old patterns. Without this recognition, you become a slave to your triggers. You will keep living on autopilot, reacting the same way, falling into the same emotional traps, blaming the world for the storms inside you. The people who have mastered their emotions are not the ones who never get triggered. They are the ones who recognize their triggers quickly. They see the emotional storm coming and they know exactly where it's coming from. They know when a situation is poking an old wound. They know when their reaction is about something deeper. And because they know, they can choose to respond differently. They can choose to stay calm. They can choose to speak from a place of understanding instead of frustration. They can choose peace instead of war. That choice is only possible when you have done the work to recognize your patterns. Recognition is not just about mental understanding. It's about deep, honest self-reflection. It's about looking back at your life and finding those moments that shaped your emotional responses. It's about facing the painful memories, the disappointments, the losses, the betrayals. You have to dig into your own story and find where your silent triggers were born. It could be childhood rejection. It could be years of being compared to others. It could be moments where you felt invisible, unloved, unworthy. These moments don't just vanish, they stay inside you, and if you don't address them, they grow roots. They influence how you see the world, how you treat people, how you react to situations. When you begin to recognize these emotional roots, you can start healing them. You can forgive people who never apologized. You can release the weight of expectations you placed on yourself. You can start rewriting the story you've been living. You can remind yourself that just because you were ignored once doesn't mean you are always unimportant. Just because you were criticized before doesn't mean you are always wrong. Just because you felt abandoned once doesn't mean you are always alone. Recognition allows you to break the chain. It gives you the power to create new emotional responses that are not tied to old wounds. Without this work, you will spend your life being emotionally reactive, not emotionally intelligent. You will keep getting hurt by small things. You will keep losing your peace over situations that don't deserve that much power. You will keep giving control to people who don't even realize they are controlling you, but you don't have to live like that. You can take your peace back. You can build emotional strength by facing what's inside you instead of running from it. You can become someone who doesn't just react. You can become someone who understands. And when you understand yourself, you are no longer easily shaken by the world around you. You become calm in situations where you used to fall apart. You become steady when others expect you to break. You become free, and that freedom starts the moment you decide to recognize the real reason why you feel what you feel. That's when everything begins to change. There comes a moment when you feel it building inside you. The rush of heat in your chest, the tightening of your throat, the flood of emotions that seem to demand an instant reaction. Your heart beats faster, your breathing changes, and your mind races with thoughts that you don't fully control. It's in that very moment that most people fail. It's in that moment that most people give away their peace without realizing it. They speak too soon, they act too quickly, they let the trigger pull them into a reaction that they later regret. This is where life quietly tests you. It's not in grand moments of decision, but in these tiny spaces where you either take a breath or you explode. The difference between people who master their emotions and those who are mastered by them is this one sacred thing, the pause. The pause is not just a simple delay, it is a life-saving discipline, a powerful choice that can completely shift the direction of your life. It's the moment where you decide whether you will react from impulse or respond from wisdom. Most people don't pause. They don't know how. They live in a cycle where every feeling demands immediate action. If they feel anger, they shout. If they feel attacked, they defend. If they feel sad, they withdraw. They are trapped in a world where emotions are commands, and they have no other option but to obey. But the pause teaches you that emotions are not commands. They are signals. They are information, but they are not rulers of your life. You don't have to act on them right away. You don't have to surrender to them in the moment they appear. You can feel anger and choose to stay silent. You can feel sadness and still show up for your responsibilities. You can feel frustration and choose to breathe instead of explode. But this control doesn't happen automatically. It is built, it is trained, it is practiced. The pause is not weakness. It's not avoidance. It's not running away from how you feel. It is you standing fully in the storm of your emotions and choosing to remain still for a moment, choosing to step back before you let your emotions drive your next move. It's in that stillness where you find your power. That's where you can ask yourself the questions that most people never ask. Why am I about to say this? Why am I about to do this? Is this coming from clarity or from a triggered place inside me? Is this reaction going to bring me peace, or is it going to leave me with regret? When you can create this gap, even for just a few seconds, you can save yourself from years of damage caused by words you can't take back and actions you can't undo. Training yourself to pause is like building a muscle. You will not get it right every time. You will fail often in the beginning. There will be times where you still react too quickly, where you still fall into old emotional patterns. But every time you catch yourself, every time you choose to pause instead of react, you get stronger. Your emotional muscles grow. Your ability to remain calm increases. And with practice, the gap between feeling and reacting becomes bigger and bigger. That gap is where freedom lives. That gap is where peace is protected. That gap is where your best self can finally lead instead of your emotional impulses dragging you into chaos. There are many ways to build this muscle. Daily practices like meditation teach you how to observe your thoughts and emotions without grabbing onto them. Deep breathing resets your nervous system and creates a physical pause in your body. Writing in a journal helps you slow down your thoughts and see them clearly on paper instead of letting them speed uncontrollably in your mind. Even something as simple as counting backwards from 10 can interrupt the automatic reaction and give you those extra moments you need to choose wisely. These are not just random techniques. These are weapons you can carry into emotional battles. They are your tools for mastering the pause. But the discipline of pause is not just about techniques. It's about commitment. It's about choosing to live your life from a place of awareness instead of autopilot reactions. It's about deciding that protecting your peace is more important than winning an argument. It's about understanding that sometimes silence is more powerful than speaking. It's about realizing that not everything requires your response. Not every situation deserves your energy. Not every provocation needs to be answered. You become a master when you understand that peace is not given to you. It is built and protected by what you allow and what you let pass. People will test you. Life will test you. You will find yourself in situations where everything inside you is begging to react, to defend, to prove something, to explode. And in those moments, you will feel the pull to give in. But that's where your training matters most. That's where your discipline is put on display. You have to remind yourself that reacting quickly does not mean you are strong. Anyone can react. True strength is in controlling the urge to act without thinking. True strength is in holding your ground while the storm passes. True strength is in responding from clarity, not from emotional chaos. When you start to live this way, you will notice something powerful. People around you will begin to lose their power over you. Their words will no longer control your mood. Their actions will no longer dictate your peace. You will become steady. You will become unshakable. You will no longer feel like you are a prisoner to your own emotions, and that steadiness will radiate into every part of your life. Your relationships will improve because you will not damage them with emotional outbursts. Your decision-making will improve because you will no longer make choices in the heat of the moment. Your inner life will improve because you will not carry the weight of regret caused by reactions you later wish you could undo. The discipline of pause is not about becoming emotionless. It's about feeling everything fully and still choosing your response with intention. It's about being deeply human but also deeply aware. It's about stepping into your life with presence, with patience, with wisdom. This discipline is built day by day, choice by choice, moment by moment. It is not something you perfect. It is something you practice, and the more you practice, the more you protect your peace. The more you pause, the more you step into the life you were meant to live, one where you are the master of your emotions, not their servant. You don't need to control the world. You don't need to control other people. You just need to control your next breath, your next word, your next step, and that control begins in the pause. That is where your power truly lies. The journey of mastering your emotions is not a straight path. It is filled with days where you will feel like you've made great progress, and then suddenly, something small will catch you off guard and drag you right back into old patterns. There will be moments where you feel like you've become unshakable, and yet, a single word from the right person can bring you to your knees. This is part of the process. Emotional mastery is not about becoming perfect or immune to feelings. It is about building the strength to get back up faster, to regain your balance more quickly, and to move forward with greater wisdom each time you stumble. You will never completely eliminate triggers from your life. Life will continue to challenge you. People will still disappoint you. Unexpected situations will still arrive without warning. But the person you become in the face of these things, that's where your power lies. There is something deeply transformational that happens when you stop blaming life for the way you feel. You stop being a victim of circumstances. You stop being at the mercy of the outside world. You begin to carry your own weather. You stop waiting for things to be peaceful in order for you to feel peaceful. You realize that peace is something you carry with you, not something you have to search for in the world. It's inside you, but it only becomes visible when you take responsibility for your reactions, your patterns, and your healing. This responsibility is not heavy. It's liberating. Because when you accept that you are responsible for your peace, you no longer have to wait for other people to change. You no longer need life to be perfect. You no longer feel trapped by what happens around you. You are free. True emotional mastery does not mean you suppress your feelings. It does not mean you pretend to be calm when you are not. It means you face your feelings fully. You feel them deeply, but you don't allow them to control your behavior. You don't let them dictate your words, your actions, or your decisions. You create space between what you feel and what you choose to do. You can feel anger without becoming anger. You can feel sadness without becoming consumed by it. You can feel fear without being paralyzed by it. This is the quiet strength that sets people apart. This is what makes someone steady in the middle of life's storms. The process of building this mastery is not glamorous. It happens in silent moments where you choose to breathe instead of react. It happens in the space where you choose to walk away from an argument that your pride wants to win. It happens in the morning when you choose to center yourself before the day pulls you in different directions. It happens late at night when you replay a painful memory and you choose to release it instead of feeding it. These small, private victories are where emotional mastery is built. No one may see these moments. No one may celebrate them, but they are the foundations of a powerful life. When you live from this place of mastery, people will notice something different about you. They will notice your calm in situations where others panic. They will notice your ability to listen carefully when others are only waiting to speak. They will notice your patience when the world seems to rush. They will see that you do not get pulled into every emotional current, that you do not get shaken by every wave. And what's most powerful is that they will not understand how you do it. They will not see the years you spent building this strength. They will not see the moments you failed and chose to try again. They will not see the nights you wrestled with your own thoughts, the mornings you disciplined your mind, the hours you invested in healing old wounds. But they will feel your presence. They will feel your steadiness. And in some quiet way, they will respect it. The truth is, the world does not need more people who react impulsively. The world does not need more people who fight to be right at the cost of peace. The world does not need more people who are slaves to their emotions. The world needs people who can bring calm into chaos. The world needs people who can hold space for difficult conversations without exploding. The world needs people who can show patience in moments where others fall apart. And you can become that person, not because you are emotionless, but because you have chosen to lead your emotions instead of being led by them. Along this journey, you will discover something else. You will realize that emotional mastery also allows you to connect with others more deeply. When you are no longer trapped in your own reactions, you can truly hear people, you can truly see them, you can feel compassion for them, even when they are speaking from a place of pain or anger. You will start to understand that many people who trigger you are actually people who are struggling within themselves. Their harsh words, their impatience, their rudeness, it often comes from their own unresolved pain. When you see this, you no longer feel the need to react. You no longer feel the need to fight back. You can meet them with understanding instead of resistance. This doesn't mean you allow disrespect. It means you no longer feel controlled by their behavior. Emotional mastery also teaches you how to forgive, not because people always deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Holding on to anger, resentment, and bitterness only chains you to the very pain you want to escape. Forgiveness is not about forgetting what happened. It is about choosing not to carry the weight anymore. It is about choosing to be free from the emotional poison that keeps you stuck. Mastering your emotions gives you the power to release that weight. It gives you the power to let go and to move forward with a lighter heart. There will always be situations that challenge your peace. There will always be moments that test your discipline. But each time you practice the pause, each time you choose to respond with awareness, each time you protect your peace instead of chasing temporary victories, you are becoming stronger, you are becoming freer. You are stepping into the life you were meant to live, one where you are no longer a victim of your emotions, but a leader of them. In the end, it is not about avoiding storms. It is about becoming the kind of person who can walk through storms without losing their calm. It is about becoming someone who carries peace not because the world gave it to them, but because they built it within themselves. You can be that person. You can build that peace. You can master your emotions. And when you do, you will realize that you were never chasing peace out there. It was always waiting to be found within you.